Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Jarrell here, DFSR.com, as well as my Patreon, patreon.com/JagerBombs. Going to be talking some DFS MLB today. Before we get that going, I just have to tweet this out. Let everyone know I'm live. If you're here, give me a shout out. Let me know you can hear me. Happy Friday to you all. Very nice day here, that's for sure. Mid-Saskatchewan, it's hot. I hope you can't hear my air conditioner. If it is a problem, let me know. I will most definitely shut that mother off here. All right, I am just going to, sorry about that extra sound. Couple things we're going to talk about here today. I'm going to share my screen eventually. I'm going to go over the DFSR tools, going to go over my sheet, going to go over top pitchers, going to go over some PrizePicks plays tonight. If you got any questions about the sheet, this is a great time to fire them off in chat. I can definitely explain some stuff because I'm going to kind of be rifling through all over the place here. Got to kind of keep this about 25, 30 minutes because I've got to head out to the golf course. And, oh, no, not to golf. I got to maintenance the lawnmowers tonight. That's my Friday night job. And then once I get home from that, me and Dane are going live to talk some soccer. We got, I believe it's the quarterfinals tomorrow for the Euros, 2-game slate. So we're going to be live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't catch that show, make sure to check it out in the morning before the slate. I think it's an afternoon lock for that slate. Dane, correct me in chat. I think you're watching here if I'm wrong on that. I don't have all that info in front of me. But I'm just going to tweet this off, and then I'm going to jump over to the sheet here. I spent the day working on a ton of different sheets for, pretty much everything. League of Legends. We've got 3 different slates going on that today. Got a bunch of other stuff. And in the background, all day long, I've been watching the MLB, the very first combine. Absolutely cool. I don't know why they've never done this in the past. It's amazing. If you're into watching NFL combine on TV, like I am, hours and hours a day, it's been absolutely amazing. I think they replay it late at night, everything that goes through the day, kind of like NFL does. So that's like if you're really into baseball. They were even like during the batting practice for the batters for this. I can't talk and tweet at the same time. This is going to take forever, so I'm just going to throw this out. Multitasking. There we go. And if anyone's on Twitter, if you could head over at Jaeger_bombs9, I just tweeted that out. Go throw a like and a retweet on that. Really much appreciate that. Really helps out spread the algorithm for YouTube and get more people watching here. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Make sure to like the video below. Throw your comments, questions in chat. I will make sure to get to all of it here shortly. So now that we are Dane 12 tomorrow, yeah, so lots of time to watch that show in the morning. PrizePicks NBA props, not on this show. Don't have any NBA data for you right now. I can definitely, if you hit me up in chat later on, or hit Kenny up in chat, just ask him, a couple plays that you're looking at and just ask his opinion on that. He can probably help you out there. FanDuel and DraftKings today, for sure. Yep, I'm playing FanDuel, DraftKings, PrizePicks. I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff, so I'm just going to bring up the sheet now, this view, so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'm going to get that out of the way. We'll make the screen a little bit bigger, and we will rock and roll. So Houston and Detroit we don't got to worry about the weather in that one because they just outright postponed it. So that's awesome. We don't got to make that decision anymore. Yes, Jesse, this is a MLB show, a daily fantasy baseball pre-lock show. I'm going to be doing this on Fridays for sure, possibly more going forward. So definitely an MLB only show here. But yeah, looking at the sheet, so now we've got Houston and Detroit off the board. Starting pitching is fairly straightforward for me tonight. Carlos Rodon right at the top. He is pretty much, him and Garrett Cole are, I think, neck and neck in terms of Cy Young to this point of the season anyway. I definitely like that. 10-7, so the price is definitely up there, but as you've seen lately, there is just so much value spread among these lineups. Guys moving up to the top, very cheap values, guys that are underpriced, especially on DraftKings, which seems weird because in the past we looked to FanDuel for all this value and underpriced players. But either way, Rodon is easy to fit in there against Seattle. What I like when I'm looking at the sheet here, he's a 190 favorite, minus 190 favorite, 7.5 total, very low total in this game. Like I said, he has been absolutely amazing this season. If I just slide over and bring up one more. So a site that I use and I'm going to refer to a lot is Fangraphs. I highly recommend going over and checking them out, getting familiar with the site. It's absolutely amazing if you want to take your baseball research to another level. There are ads, obviously, but you can become a member for $20 a year. It's literally that cheap to get access to all the same stats, of course, but then you get a little bit extra on top of that as well. So I'm just going to search up Rodon. I just want to look at his game log here quick. He's been absolutely elite this year. And what really impresses me the most is he not only has he been extremely consistent, but he's had a lot of K upside as well. 8, 9, 8, 10, 13. So 8 or more strikeouts in every single game but 2, and 7 and 5 in those other 2 games. That's just a high floor in terms of DraftKings scoring, FanDuel scoring, just because strikeouts are worth so much. He goes deep into games. He doesn't give up a lot of hits. A couple bad starts in here. Other than those bad starts, he's given up 1 or less earned runs in 10 of 12 starts. That's absolutely incredible. So he's easily number 1. Up number 2 would be Chris Paddock. His price is slowly coming up. He's been a lot better. I had him up here as well. He's got 6 or more strikeouts in 4 straight, 20 over his last 2. He's been a lot more solid, giving up about 6 hits per start, but he's been really starting to suppress that power a little bit. As he was on a little bit of a streak here, but he's not giving up a lot of earned runs. So that's good to see. The ground ball rate's about 45%, so that's fine. What I like here tonight is a couple things, and I want to jump back to FanGraphs, something that I look at in terms of advanced statistics when I'm breaking down matchups. And most of the time, it's not something I'm going to put into a model, but it's something that, okay, I like Paddock. Now I want to see what his best pitch is, what he throws the most. He throws the fastball the most. I believe it's almost, we'll go to pitch type here, over on his player card, on game logs, on FanGraphs. And as you can see, he throws fastball 60% of the time. So that's one of the higher fastball rates. So fastball changeup, 60-30. 90% of his pitches are fastball changeup. So then I go over to team batting, and it lists all the teams for the season. And then I go to pitch value. And all this is saying is above or below average in terms of the team versus league average. So this one with the data, there's 2 different ones here. This is cumulative stats, and then this is per 100 pitches. It's a lot easier to compare teams when you're looking at everyone on the same scale. So that's what I use, is all these -C. So fastballs, I've got it sorted by who's best at fastballs. Minnesota, number 1. Right near the bottom, we've got Arizona ranked 23rd against the fastballs. We go look at the changeup. Arizona, that is their best pitch, but just barely above average, so I'm not too concerned there. He does throw the fastball 60% of the time. The spin rate's been up on it, and that's why he's creating so many strikeouts. But a lot of the strikeouts, to be honest, lately, he's got like a 16% K rate versus sliders, or sorry, with his slider. And Arizona, that is their, them curveballs and sliders are their worst pitch. So he definitely can get some strikeouts there. So Chris Paddock is number 2 for me, under 9K. Probably, I would even consider him as your starting pitcher 1 in cash games. Even GPPs avoid that ownership for Rodon over on FanDuel at 8,500. You can really load up on the bats, although Toronto is very expensive, so that might be a route you want to go. Speaking of Toronto, Alek Manoah did not get suspended. He appealed, so that hasn't gone through, so he's facing Baltimore again. It'll be interesting to see how that goes tonight. He is a little bit more of a GPP play. I'd rather pay up for Paddock in terms of cash. I do have him as a core just because I do like the K upside that he's shown, 27%. He can give up hits in bunches at times. So there is a little bit of risk there, I would say, but I definitely like Paddock. And then Minor versus Texas. This is more, he's an underdog in a low total game. It's pretty much a pick 'em. That's why he's kind of the GPP. I think he'll be lower owned. But what stands out here is that Texas has been absolutely brutal against lefties. 83 WRC plus. If you're wondering what WRC plus is, I look at it a lot, whether I'm looking at splits, last 7 days performance, 14 days on the season, whether it be team, whether it be pitchers, what they give up, whether it be individual players. It's WRC plus, weighted runs created. And the plus, all that means is that everyone is park adjusted. So, it counts everyone fairly, whether you play in Coors Field, whether you play in, wherever else, any other stadium out there. So keep that in mind when you're looking at WRC plus. But Mike Minor is 83 WRC plus, 17% below league average, or Texas is 17% below league average versus lefties, and 24% K rate. So on the season, they're 12% below league average overall. So keep that in mind. Those are my pitchers for tonight. And then we will be going, just give me 2 seconds here. I just have to sort this out. Bring that over here. This is the new Discord. So if you haven't heard, RotoPros is closing down at the end of the month. And we are transitioning over to my Patreon. I have Dane, Kenny, and Ryan who have joined me. We are eventually by the end of July, going into August, we're going to be fully switched over from Slack chat to Discord. So make sure to check that out as well. And as you can see in the comment, or not the comments below, but below that, you can lock in your current price, and it's $5 per sport, $10 for all sports, and that is a monthly rate. Those prices are going up July 1st. You can lock in our current prices with a 16% discount if you lock in for a yearly subscription as well. So if you're looking for more information on that, definitely hit me up, and I can help you out with that to show you how to switch that over to yearly or how to subscribe altogether. But that information is scrolling across below as well, where you can go patreon.com/JagerBombs. All right, so before we jump back into the sheet here, now that we don't have this weather out of the way, I think Toronto is going to be the way to go. I'm going to get into stacks just here in just a second. I can't get that to come up, so I just will go back to the sheet for now. And we'll jump into team stacking. If any questions, guys, throw them in the chat. Anything that you don't understand in the sheet, let me know. And I can explain it as we go here, because I've got about 20 more minutes, and I'm going to take off. I'm going to talk about some bats. I'm going to jump into PrizePicks and then DFSR tools here as well. All right. So first up, like I said, Toronto. I'm going to scroll this over. They've been red hot lately. They face Matt Harvey, 7.80 ERA. He has been pretty terrible all year long. Doesn't give up a lot of home runs, so that's not there. Fine. All right. So Toronto's up first for sure. I think we can afford them with some of the values that I talked about before. So keep that in mind. Secondary team is going to be San Diego and then Los Angeles. San Diego faces Corbin Martin. He, 2 starts in there. He's probably going to go 4 or 5, but I like they are, Arizona. Here, where are we here? Okay, so 5.17 ERA out of the bullpen, 4.73 xFIP, both bottom 5 in the league. Worst whip in the league in terms of bullpen, and the lowest K rate in terms of bullpen. So even if he only goes 4 or 5 innings and they touch him for 3-4 runs, let's say, they got a great opportunity to hammer on that bullpen. San Diego has been red hot lately as well, especially over the last 7 days. They're also affordable. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. I'm going to go through individual positions as well. If you guys got any questions, make sure throw them in the chat, please, and I will get to them. And then the Yankees stand out as well. So those are the 4 teams I'm looking at right now. There's a couple lineups that aren't in yet. I believe they came in as I started streaming this video, so I will have those updated when I'm done. But looking at catcher, I'm always looking to go fairly cheap. But with these lineups confirmed, I'm actually going to just go over to the lineups page tonight and look at Toronto's lineup. First of all, we've got Semien, Bichette, Guerrero, Teoscar. For me in cash games, I'm going to probably try and spread my exposure to Los Angeles, San Diego, and Toronto, get pieces of each, because each has very expensive players, but all 3 of those teams also have some nice values that you can really tie together and get exposure to all those teams in cash games, getting exposure to all those top projected scoring teams tonight, without overstacking like we have been with Houston the last couple of days just because of their prices. So a little bit different today. So 2 to 3 man stacks for those teams. For Toronto, there's a couple different ways you can go. So first of all, they're expensive, obviously, but Teoscar is my favorite, 4,700. He's still under 5K. Springer, not for cash, but for GPP, I love that price on DraftKings, under 4K. Easy to sneak him in there and get that high upside with him at low prices. But it's going to be Teoscar and Vladdy. Those would be the 2 that I would stack together in cash games. And then going and looking at San Diego. Pham's at the top, 4,600, so that's a pretty nice price on him leading off. Jake Cronenworth is my favorite at 4,800. He's still under 5K. I would probably go Cronenworth, Machado for them. Those would be my 2 favorites in cash. Cronenworth and Pham probably over on FanDuel at 33 and 3,400. Okay, so you want to? Okay, I'll answer that in just a second. I just wanted to go over Los Angeles here. That's one lineup that isn't in. So let's just jump over and I'm going to answer your question here, Stanley. How to determine what cash games to go into. Okay, so do you play DK or FanDuel? I'm going to go over both. Here is DraftKings tonight. I always like to go to my filter. I usually play $25, $10, $5 single entry double ups. So I play about 80% of my buy-ins in a night. So if I play $100, so if I put my whole bankroll in here, I've got a whole bunch of reserved here. But if I was to put $100 into tonight slate, I would play $80 in cash games and $20 in GPP. So when I go to cash games, I'm going to 50-50s and double ups on DraftKings. I'm going to the 13-game slate up top. And I like anything that says single. If you really want to narrow it down, go to the search bar and just search single, and it's going to only give you the single entry double ups. Single entry is the way to go. You don't get people doing trains. You don't get 35 people all using the same optimizer lineup from whatever site that they use. So I like the single entries, and these are the ones that I target depending on what price point you're at. Single entry is what I look at, and then you can take out that single entry and you can just type in 50. Oh, 250. Come on, Chris. 50-50. Okay, so it's not coming up. So 50-50s and double ups is where I start, and then MLB double up. So that's what we're looking for. These are smaller ones, but they're double up. So generally, I want the most people, single entry with the most entrants possible. These ones down here are a lot smaller, so I generally avoid those. So let's just say go in 25, 50, 60. So let's say just 150 and 25 is 75, and then another $5. That makes 80. I'll then go to tournaments, and I will find single entry. So today we've got $3, $12. If I'm playing $80, there's $15 right there for single entry. Leaves you $5 left. If you want to go find another single entry, that's fine. You could also take that final $5 and put it in this 20 max or the $3 3 max or something like that. A little bit bigger prize pool should that cash lineup of yours do go off. Something else that I'll do if I've got a little bit more time is play the 3 max. I'll take my cash lineup, put it in as one entry. My other two entries will be the second entry will be very close to that main entry, maybe change a pitcher depending on the slate, obviously. So tonight I might do Rodon and Manoah, Rodon and Manoah once, Rodon, let's just jump over and look at that here, Rodon and Paddock, and then maybe Paddock and Manoah. So the Rodon and Paddock and Rodon and Manoah lineups are going to be very similar, while the Paddock and Manoah lineup is going to have more hitters, probably more Toronto hitters. Just because you're going to have that much more salary to play with that combination. If you're playing 3 max, that's how I go. If you want to expand that to 20 max, do 3 lineups with Rodon and Paddock, 3 lineups with Rodon and Manoah, 5 lineups with each combination that I went over. Now you've got 5 more lineups if you like some other pitchers and you want to go a little bit off the board. But that's kind of how I would build my player pool, whether you're playing single entry, whether you're playing 3 max, whether you're playing 20 max. On FanDuel, the contest that I like, I go to MLB. First up, I like going to 50-50s. I don't play on FanDuel as much lately. It's more of a timing thing, working on so many sheets. I go to 50-50, and I find these 100-person single entries. It says single entry rate underneath over here. Usually $5, $10, $25. They have them in $1, $2, whatever price limit you go in. You can also go to multipliers. And on the phone, it's going to look a little bit different. I'll do a future video from my phone, just kind of screen sharing my phone, showing you how to get to it, because I know a lot of people use their phone for this. So I'm going to double back on this for sure and come up with like a tutorial for your phone and how to use the sheets on the phone, how to use DFSR on the phone, that sort of thing. But you can also come to these double ups, but I don't like these double ups mostly. I will search for the single entry ones. You can single them out by somewhere on here. There is a filter that's under tournaments. Under tournaments, you can find the filter for single entry down here. If you're only looking to play your cash lineup in one tournament type thing, definitely look at that. All right, so we went over DraftKings, we went over FanDuel. I want to touch on the DFSR tools and how I use those as well. So I talked about some plays on my sheet that I like. So let's just go ahead and lock Rodon and Paddock right away. What you can do, simple, you're in a hurry, lock your 2 favorite pitchers, lock a favorite pitcher, favorite bat, hit optimize. Set your lineups, number of lineups you want here. I've got it set to 10. Boom, you've got lineups. If you're playing GPP, like I said, I explained this yesterday a little bit, but I'm going to go over it again. If you're playing GPP and you just want to lock two pitchers, but you want a lot of variance in your player pool throughout the 50 lineups, turn up the randomness. If the randomness is at 0, you're going to have a very tight player pool. A lot of the lineups are going to look the same. It's going to be swapping in one player, maybe two players max throughout those 50 lineups. If you want, like I said, a little more variance in those lineups, you can take it up to 50. You can go right up to 100, and then it's going to really mix and match. So a guy that you would see maybe at 80, 90% of those 50 lineups, all of a sudden becomes only 20% of those lineups. That's one filter I like using if you're playing GPP lineups, but generally I'm locking my players. So first of all, I got Rodon and Paddock. I talked about Jake Cronenworth at second base as a nice value. Machado at third as a core. If you want to go that route, I talked about Teoscar for Toronto. Oops, that is in the outfield. So just locking those players that I talked about. You go and hit optimize again. We've got it set to 50, but if you're building a cash lineup, you don't need to set it to 50 lineups. It's going to take a while to optimize those. The more players you lock, the more filters you apply to the tools, the longer it's going to take to process that information and spit out your lineup. So I might just wait a second here and reset, because those teams that I picked, pitchers, it's all expensive, so it's trying to find a lot of value play. So it's going to take a while to process that. So while we do that, I just wanted to go through the individual positions here real quick. So I talked about pitchers over at first base. New York is on my list. Luke Voigt's going to be a core play for me. Hasn't been great against lefties this season, but he's been hot lately since he came back. I think he's got a home run in 3 straight games. He's still very cheap, especially on FanDuel. He's got to be a core play to be able to get other guys in there. You know, if you take him on FanDuel, you can easily pay up for Vladdy here. I haven't updated my plays. I'm going to be doing that shortly after, or as we go here. I'm going to change Vladdy to a core because we've lost Gurriel due to the rain. So those are my top 2 plays at first base today, whether you're paying up or going for value. Second base, it's LeMahieu or Cronenworth for me. LeMahieu is still a little bit underpriced on DK. I think he's got a 9 or 10 game hit streak right now. The power isn't quite back yet, but I do like the Yankees here. So if you're going with that Yankee correlation with Voit, I like LeMahieu. The price on those two is nice. If you're looking for 2 Yankees for cash, that definitely fits the mold. Cronenworth can be used at first or second on DraftKings, I believe he's got that eligibility. And then, or sorry, DraftKings, he's second base, and FanDuel, he can be first or second, I believe. So I like that there. Turner for LA, they're facing Arrieta. Arrieta struggled a lot, so I do like LA here. Turner's going to be a FanDuel only play for me. 3,200, that's a great price for him. As you can see, he's the most expensive on DK. He's like 8th or 10th most expensive on FanDuel. Manny Machado on DK, that $800 discount there. So it's Machado on DK. It's Turner on FanDuel for me with those prices. If you're going with Toronto and you want to correlate, Biggio is hitting 6, so it's a little bit lower in the order, but the price is still fair, especially on DK in the mid 4K range at 4,400, and he's been decent lately, about league average, but still, it's a nice price if you need the savings and are going a little bit heavier on Toronto. GPP, that middle of the order. Let's just go back over to Toronto on the starting lineups page here real quick. Guerrero, Teoscar, Springer, Biggio is a nice 4-man stack. To the reason I go with that 4-man stack, just because it's so expensive to go the top 4. They're just getting priced out, besides Teoscar. So by going Vladdy, you get 1 expensive bat and 3 very affordable bats on DraftKings. I really like that road, actually, on both sides. So the 3 to 6 stack for the Jays, I really like for GPP if you're building GPP lineups tonight. I'm going to go up and look at the Yankees. We haven't talked about their lineup yet. LeMahieu and Voit, I like for cash. I know they don't correlate in terms of sequencing in their lineup, but they kind of bookend the top, or they do bookend the top 5 of the lineup here with 3 huge power bats in the middle who are all very expensive. Gary Sanchez is affordable, but unfortunately he's catcher. FanDuel 3,100. He's absolutely scorching hot right now, so don't count him out as just an overall play. But LeMahieu and Voit are great values on DraftKings for sure. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it in cash, and then I'll try and get as many Yankees as I can if you're looking to stack Yankees. Okay, so I'm just looking at Stanley's question. Why is it that when I set the random meter to 80 or 90, it says error? Is it because I use a phone to play that being only filter? No. Depends. Do you lock anyone else when you're doing it? I guess there's a few different things. If it can't calculate 50 lineups, definitely take some screenshots of that and send it to me in chat, or email it to support@dfsr.com. It might be a bug, but generally, if we have too many filters in, or it can't calculate with the filters that you have set, it will give you an error. So I just want to go one lineup here with some guys that I had talked about here real quick. So actually want to get Voit in there at first base. LeMahieu will say, just kind of going to show you how I'm going to lock a few players. For Toronto, I like getting Teoscar in there at the outfield, and we'll just go with that with our two pitchers. We've got number of lineups one. Randomness doesn't matter when you're only running one lineup. So it's punting catcher, just like I like to do. Jeffers, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with punting almost any catcher. Gets us Bichette. So that's nice. We get some correlation there. We get Springer in there as well. The system is going to like Springer just because of that price and his upside. If we wait too long, if you kind of play that game where let's wait and see what Springer does before we roster him, he's going to be 5K. He's just that type of player. He's going to be back up in the leadoff spot, and he's going to be 5K. So I am okay going with him in cash to get those savings. 3,900 is too cheap. Like I said, he's a 5 to 6K player. So I don't mind the way this lineup went. We even got more Yankees in there, and then we're just kind of punting Rengifo at 2K. I don't mind that at all. That's how I go ahead and use the filters here. And while you're working, if you see this pop up, that just means we've adjusted our projections in the back end. Just click yes. It's going to reset the projections, and then you can come check it out again. You can hit me up in the DFSR chat, as well as this is the Discord. This is our MLB talk. This is all the channels that we got. This is kind of what Discord looks like. Nice, sleek look. It's a lot easier for us on the back end to be able to control the channel, to be able to provide you guys the best kind of content. So definitely that comes with Patreon, patreon.com/JagerBombs. Right now, we've got the Slack chat running, like I said, up until August to help everyone transition over. If you've got questions on how to switch to the yearly, how to sign up to Patreon, we've got some deals I worked out with Doug for DFSR. For any of my patrons that are looking to try out the DFSR optimizer, definitely hit me up. And there's a free trial going on. We can definitely help you out with that, getting you over, having a little bit of a trial, trying it out for baseball, PGA. NFL's back in September. NHL's done for the season. NBA is now done for the season as well. But we cover 5 sports all under one pricing structure. So definitely hit me up if you got any questions about that as well. And if we don't have any more questions, PrizePicks. Give me just a second here. I'm going to slide over to PrizePicks. First of all, at pitching, I like Paddock. I talked about liking him for DFS. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit more. And if you're interested in trying out PrizePicks, haven't tried it out yet, I have a link in the description below. With my link, you'll get 100% deposit match up to $100 by using my link. And as well, we're providing a ton of content for PrizePicks going forward for Patreon as well. It's just been very successful for us. It helps. I've been playing a lot just simply because I have time. Timing issues, I should say. I'm working on so many sheets at once, projections for DFSR, all the sheets that I provide for the same sheets for DFSR as well as my Patreon. RotoPro is up until the end of the month, that I don't get time to kind of go through and set my lineups for a DraftKings. That's why I only play one lineup on DraftKings or FanDuel. Really like PrizePicks for that because you can play fantasy score. But what I've been playing a lot of this season is the single stat. So for pitchers, you are just betting on. Sorry, it's not betting. You're placing because you got to have 2 in there. So it's similar to DFS, but you need for each prop, you're just going with the over or under. So Chris Paddock, I just got to find him here. 6 strikeouts. So he's had 6 strikeouts in 4 straight, or 5 of his last 6. Like I said, he's got 20 in his last 2 games. He faces an Arizona team. Let's just flip over to the starting pitcher tab. An Arizona team that's striking out 25% of the time versus right-handed pitching, and 31% of the time over the last week. Absolutely insane. So I do like the Paddock over is my favorite play. In terms of pitchers, that's I'll look to target against a team. So Arrieta, that's a pretty low total. So I look for some unders against some teams that I'm targeting in terms of bats. Usually they're pretty good at leaving those off. But Martin Perez, I might go with an under on him. We'll go look at his stats here. Why can't I find Martin Perez? Right there. He's a sub 20% K rate on the season, and he's facing a Yankees team. They strike out a lot, 25%. So that's a close one. I'd probably stay away. I don't mind mixing this with some bats tonight. And again, you can go fantasy score, but for me personally, and if you're ever looking to find out how the fantasy scoring starts, or just how the scoring stats are accumulated, go over to scoring chart MLB. You get 3 points for a single, 5 for a double. So it's similar to FanDuel and DraftKings scoring in that sense. More to FanDuel scoring, I believe. I'll have to check into that. But looking at some bats tonight, what you're going with the single stat stuff is hits and walks combined. And I found out last night with my Rizzo under that a hit by pitch does not count as a walk. So that was awesome waking up to a cash there. That was a clean sweep last night. Had about a 5x night. I don't mind looking at Sanchez. He's been red hot. I like the over on Sanchez, possibly pairing him with Paddock. So those are two plays I like. And I'll just kind of scroll through and the teams that I went through and highlighted on my sheet. I'll just see how many of them are listed on here and kind of pick the ones. Obviously, if you're doing this and you want to increase your odds of winning on the hitters, especially, I like concentrating on road teams for hitters just simply because if you go with a road team, they're guaranteed to hit in the ninth inning. If you go with a home team, they're not always, if they're leading, they're not going to be hitting in the bottom of the ninth. You're going to lose some possible implied at bat or some implied at bats with that. So keep that in mind. That's getting pretty deep, but that is going to help you a lot. It helped me a lot already this season with getting an extra at bat in that ninth inning, rotated through, it came through, and it helped me win. So keep that in mind when you're looking for bats. Also, place an order is huge. If you're betting the under, look for guys that have maybe moved down the order since lineups came out. You know, early in the day, a guy that normally hit in at the top of the lineup, he's now moved down to 7th, 8th position. I'll maybe take the under on that because if they don't remove them from their props, you can catch them that way. If you're betting overs and you like betting overs, I do like targeting guys towards leadoff hitters 1, 2, 3, 4 in the lineup. I usually won't go much deeper than 4 in the lineup unless it's for sure an away hitter in that sense. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at my hitters for PrizePicks. Same kind of way I look at it for DFS. In cash games, I want safety. I want implied at bats. I want leadoff hitters, 2-hole, top of the lineup. That's what we're targeting. So I do the same over here in PrizePicks. So just kind of scrolling down, looking at the other teams that I was targeting tonight to see if we can find any other bats here. Jock Peterson, nope, don't want any of that. Bellinger hasn't been great, so I won't be looking there. Chris Taylor, if he's at the top of the lineup, I think could make some sense. Will Smith, possibly. Jake Cronenworth, there we are. Hitting third in the lineup. He was been hitting lower in the lineup recently, so I do like that. He's been red hot. They get a great matchup. So there's my top 3 picks. I like all these overs tonight. And another thing I'll do when looking for unders on this list is go with my top pitchers. So we got Rodon, we've got Paddock, and we've got Manoah. So I will look for hitters to go with unders for Baltimore, Arizona, and Seattle and see if there's any Baltimore, Arizona, or Seattle. I'll just do the search. So that's versus Baltimore. So we got Cedric Mullins and Mancini. I would dig in a little bit and see kind of how good they have been lately. I know Mancini's at the top of the lineup, so it's iffy with Manoah. Maybe more of a GPP style play on that. Arizona, I don't think we have any Arizona hitters tonight. We got Katel Marte again. Not too thrilled about playing the under on him. But I do like Paddock, so that would be one I would consider maybe as like a 4th pick, as a deeper flex play, not someone I would play in a power play. So that's kind of the way cash games versus GPP. Same thing with PrizePicks, where your cash plays are more guys that I would play in power plays, and the GPP plays are the ones I'd play in flex plays. And the difference there, if you go with 3 and you're doing a power play, you have to get all 3 right. If you go with 3 in a flex play, you can still get 2 of 3 right, and you still win 25% of what you put in. So you still get a return on that. So keep that in mind. So those are my top 3. I'm going to be going, usually what I'll do every day is pick my top 2 out of those, which tonight I don't think I can do Paddock and Cronenworth. I'm going to try here. $5. I think they got to be, I put it on a flex play. Oh, yeah, we did get the message. So entries must include at least 2 players from different teams. So I can't go Cronenworth and Paddock. Geez, who did I have in there? I do like Teoscar in here as well, so you can go Teoscar. He would be my 4th favorite on that list. I just have to find who the heck did I have there. Is that the pitcher? No. Just rivet in here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I can't remember. Either way, you got to have one from each team. So those are my 4 favorites. Gary Sanchez. Sorry about that. Yeah, Gary Sanchez. So those are my top 4, probably in order that I like as well. Probably Cronenworth 1, Paddock 2, and then Teoscar and Sanchez are very, very close. I like both a lot tonight for the over. All 4 are going to be overs. What I'll do is run 2 of them, my favorite 2, which would be because we can't run Paddock and Cronenworth, I would probably go. I like Cronenworth and Teoscar as my 2-play power play tonight, and then I would probably run all 4 in a flex play. Even take my top 3, which would be Paddock, Cronenworth, and Teoscar, and even go a power play, just a lot less. If I go $25 on Cronenworth and Teoscar, I would probably put a $10 3-play power play in, and then a $5 4-play flex play. So that's how I play PrizePicks every night. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more. Hit me up in chat if you got more questions. I know I've seen a question come up from Tim asking if I like Reynolds at all today. I'm going to go over. He is facing Kim. Going to go look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh crutched. That was an awesome value call yesterday. It worked out really well. They've been very good lately. As you can see, 114 WRC plus over the last 7 days. They're facing Kim, who's been actually very decent. He doesn't give up a lot of fly balls, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, so I don't really like it as a GPP stack. He's got a higher whip, though. Reynolds has been awesome. Reynolds against, I just want to jump over, and we want to look at his splits here real quick, and then I'm going to get ready to take off here. I'm sitting about 36 minutes here. Just wanted to look at Brian Reynolds. Okay, here we are. Yeah, so he crushes lefties. Kim's only been about average. So I'm not looking at a whole lot of power here, but if you're looking for a cash punt on DraftKings 3,100, I do really like Reynolds again. Hitting 3rd in the lineup. As you can see here, this is batting order for anyone that's new that is here. If there's nothing in there, it's either not confirmed yet or they're not starting. So keep an eye out for that. He's got a 431 WOBA, but 177 WRC plus, 77% better than the league average hitter versus left-handed pitching. Incredible. He's been hot lately, 292 WRC plus and 227 over the last 7 and 14 days. Absolutely love it. Brian Reynolds, most definitely. All right, I think that covers everything. If you guys got questions, hit me up in RotoPro Slack chat. That's going to be open until the end of the month. We've got my Patreon Slack chat. That's going to be open until the end of July. And Discord, which we've started to rotate over to as well. And then DFSR.com. I'll be in that chat as well. Or leave your comment in the YouTube below. Make sure to like the video. I really, really appreciate it. And if anyone is on Twitter, if you go and like the video on my Twitter account, at Jaeger_bombs9, throw out a retweet. I honestly, truly appreciate it. It helps out a lot in traction with the business, getting the YouTube channel out there as well as getting the Patreon and DFSR out there as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Appreciate the support. Go get some green screens. Good luck out there.